Okay, so we're here once again in Sword Factory X, and as of recent we did actually get some new, one new enchant in the game, which obviously was that soul-bound enchant, and basically that got me thinking about other enchants that we actually need in the game, or that would actually be really nice to have in the game. So today's video is basically me saying some of the enchants that I want to see in the game, as well as some of the enchants that you guys also want to see in the game. So recently, as I usually do, I put out a poll on my YouTube community tab, basically asking you guys some of the enchants that I actually thought about, which ones you'd actually want to see in the game. So we're going to go over some of those and basically the reasons why some people do and some people probably won't want to see these in the game. So let's just go straight into it. So as of right now, when it comes to a damage sword, realistically there's only two different enchants that you need in a sword, which is sharpness and power. If I don't keep falling off my sword, you need sharpness and power, and obviously then that last enchant, the third slot, is basically just anything random, and it's more or less always useless when it comes to actually fighting bosses. So what I thought is that we needed some more different types of enchants that will actually help with boss fights. So the first one that I actually thought about was an attack speed enchant. Now basically, obviously, this will increase your attack speed, and as of right now, obviously as you can see, even if we have an auto clicker on, we do attack fairly fast. However, with an attack speed enchant, obviously then once you get it higher and higher, you're going to end up attacking a lot quicker, which means that overall you're going to be doing a lot more damage. And for those who do have a damage sword, and obviously that third slot is just genuinely taken up by something random, such as mine with swiftness, instead of that you can have attack speed on there, and then imagine the amount of damage you're going to be doing then, and it's going to make boss fighting a lot easier, especially for the lower level players who don't exactly have a great damage sword, but they will be able to do some more damage just for the fact that they have that attack speed on there as well. So that's a really good one. Now another one that is definitely going to be something that's going to be really good, but possibly a little too overpowered, we'll have to see, is a gems enchant. So obviously once again this will go around your damage sword. Instead of having obviously swiftness, you could have a gems enchant, and basically that means that there's an increased drop from gems from bosses when you kill a boss with that specific sword. So obviously if I was to have gems enchant on this sword right now, if I go ahead quickly and just take this sword off here because it's my damage sword, and we go ahead and just teleport to a random island, we'll just go over to these bosses over here real quick and just kill them, and realistically these will drop around like 3 to 5 gems more or less. As you can see there, we got 4 for that one, kill this one, we got 8, and then we got another 4 for that one. So if you actually had the gems enchant, basically what that means is you have an increased drop from the gems, and instead of getting like 4, maybe you can have like gems enchant on 10 or something, and that way you might get 6 or 7, and then the higher you go you get more gems and stuff. So it'll be a really good way to basically bring gems more into the game and just make gems a whole lot better, as well as a lot more gettable, I guess you could say, a lot more rewardable. So yeah, that's a really good enchant to possibly have in the game in the future. Now obviously what I should actually be doing is saying what type of chances these enchants should have. So obviously we have the usual enchants over here. We have the 1 out of 1, 1 out of 1, 1 out of 1.5, 1 out of 1.5, 1 out of 1.5, 1 out of 3, 1 out of 7, and 1 out of 5 billion. So basically for the attack speed one, realistically it won't exactly be a great one, because I don't believe you'll be able to have much more attack speed, maybe if any, to be honest. So I'd probably put that in around the 1 out of 3 category, maybe like 1 out of 5, 1 out of 7, something like that. Just so it's a little bit more achievable, but obviously it's not exactly going to be that powerful, I don't think. So I would put attack speed in that one. However, for a gems enchant, it will be very, very overpowered, so I would definitely put that higher up on the list, maybe like a 1 in 20 to a 1 in 50, just so then it's not, there's not really that many people actually getting it, and obviously it's going to make it a little bit more harder to get so many more gems with the gems enchant anyway, just by making it a harder rarity. Now another one, and again this is going to be a pretty good one I think, is a boss luck enchant. So obviously right now the only real way to get more luck in your server is having a higher level player in your server. So obviously right now I am level 300, as you can see at the top, and that's getting me around 473% on the total server luck. However, say you had a sword that had a boss luck enchant on it, like down here or something, obviously the higher the enchant, the more boost it gives you. But basically what this can do is add just a little bit more percentage. Say you had like enchant 20 on it or something, then it may give you like 20% more, maybe like a little bit more than that. maybe like for every different like level of the enchant, it gives you an extra 2% or something. So then say you have a level 30 boss look enchant sword, then it will give you a nice like 60% more or something, and then that way it's just going to make some more boss spawns a little bit more better, and obviously then it's going to make it worth waiting around for some good boss spawns as well. Obviously this can definitely be abused, just for the fact that then you could just get it on all your alt accounts and stuff as well, because obviously people right now, when they come into VIP servers, they do just bring alt accounts in that have a decent level on them just to get better boss spawns, and then they'll just leave. So obviously then that can definitely be abused, but still it will be a nice one to add in the game. Make it quite hard, again maybe like 1 in 100, just so it's not exactly that easy to get, and it's just going to make it a little bit more difficult for people to get. But then again, I'll probably still even put it higher than that, maybe like 1 in 1,000, 1 in 5,000 or something, just to make it a little bit more difficult to get, and mean that people will have to grind around and sit around and wait for one to spawn in down here, just so then it's, because obviously it will be very overpowered, but then it's going to make it worth kind of the grind, I guess. So again, a boss look service like enchant thing will definitely be a pretty good enchant in the game, just so then you can get some better boss spawns, which would be really, really good. Now another one, and again this is one that definitely people are going to want in the game, and I believe has been talked about before with devs and stuff, is a luck enchant. So obviously this is different from the boss luck enchant. Basically what the luck enchant would do, it would basically increase the ascender luck on the sword. So say this sword here had a luck enchant on it, basically that means that all the swords that well basically the sword when it gets put into the ascender, all the upgrades then will be a little bit easier depending on then like the level of that enchant. So say you had like a level luck 20 sword in here, basically that would mean that it would make like getting remarkable a lot easier or something, and just kind of like boost up some of the chances. Now obviously once again it does depend on how strong it will be, because obviously it shouldn't be too strong, just for the fact that then it's not going to be that overpowered and it's not going to get abused. But then obviously it will be really good to have in the game, just for the fact that it's going to make some harder stuff a little bit more achievable. So maybe it can add like a nice 50% for something like a luck 30 sword or something, or somewhere around that, or maybe like it's just like 1% per level on it. So say you get like a luck 30 sword, you'll get a nice 30% boost on it or something in terms of luck in the ascender, just making some of these harder things a little bit more achievable. And then obviously when it comes to getting some of the boss kills and stuff, you'll then be hoping to get something like luck and greed, as well as something else on it that will just make it a little bit more achievable and a little bit more better, and just a little bit more rewarding once you do get it. So that'll be really good. And maybe again, just to kind of like make it a little bit less overpowered, make it so it can only drop from bosses instead of coming out of your machine, because obviously if it comes out of your machine, everyone will always be picking it up, going in and upgrading it and stuff. So perhaps it can only be dropped by bosses, and that way it's going to be a little less overpowered, and it will still make it like a nice reward for when you do kill some bosses and stuff. And obviously then it's going to make people go out and kill bosses more, which means that there will be more gems in the game and stuff. So that'll be a really good thing again. So just to make it a little less overpowered, only have bosses drop it basically instead of getting it out of the machine, and in that way it's going to be a really, really good one. Now there's a load of possibilities for enchants, and there can be lots of other enchants in the game. Someone did recommend maybe like a tank enchant, so basically it's like a massive buffed resistance enchant, which more or less doubles your health or something like that, which would be pretty good. And again, that'll be really nice for those who are wanting to kill like neon bosses and stuff, just to make it a little bit more achievable, I guess. Because obviously right now, having like what is this sword? This sword gives me 1.7 trillion health. Now this is more than enough for killing normal bosses and sometimes even shiny bosses, but when it comes to neon and void bosses, this health is nowhere near enough. So it'll definitely be a lot better if you can just get some more health and stuff just to kill those neon and void bosses. And again, there could be even like more enchants for stuff, maybe like void, neon and shiny enchants, just for then making like boss enchants a little bit more, well, getting like more bosses and stuff when you have it equipped, which would be pretty good. But yeah, basically there's a lot of room for enchants in this game, and obviously there will be more and more enchants brought into the game. And obviously the soulbound enchant was definitely a really good one, and I would recommend that's probably the best one to have on your damage sword now, just in case you do go out and killing neon bosses and stuff. That way you're going to just keep your sword when you die, you can go straight back into killing it without having to like keep going back and forth trying to pick up your sword and stuff. So yeah, hopefully they do introduce some more enchants into the game, and hopefully we do get some of the ones that were talked about in this video. Realistically, the ones that we all want to see are the luck ones, because everybody just loves having more luck. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they are added, and it'll be interesting to see how they actually do it. The one that I really want to see in the game though is probably the gems enchant and the boss luck enchant, just for the fact that having more gems is really good, and it means then we can get more boosts and stuff, as well as the boss luck enchant, just because everybody loves seeing really good boss spawns, and I love seeing good boss spawns just for the fact that then I can make some content out of it. So yeah, some really interesting ideas. Hopefully you guys agree. If you have any enchant ideas, let me know down in the comments below, and I might make a part 2. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.